In this video, we're going to go backwards from the video we just looked at, and we're going to take a graph and write the linear inequality for the graph. And on this one, it's pretty easy to see which side is shaded. I'm not 100% sure how that came through on the worksheets. So if you want to just take a moment to shade in which side we're looking at, you can do that. Now, the first thing we want to do is come up with the equation for this boundary line, which we've done before. Most of the time, it's easiest to use slope-intercept form. If we can identify that y-intercept, which in this case is 1. So we're going to have y is equal to something times x plus 1. Okay? And whatever we multiply by x is our slope. So we need to determine the slope. Here's another point that the line goes through. So we are going up to and over 1. So the slope of the line is 2. So the equation of that boundary line is y equals 2x plus 1. Now, what we're not interested in that equation, this is an inequality, so we need to determine which inequality symbol needs to go between the y and the 2x. So what we're going to do is we are going to pick a point that's in the shaded region. And again, if you can pick the point 0, 0, do it. It's the easiest one to work with. So in this case, what we're going to do is substitute 0 in for y and 0 in for x. And determine how this side compares to this side. Okay, so when we simplify this right side, 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. And how does 0 compare to 1? 0 is less than 1. So that's the inequality that goes up here, less than. And then all we do is look at the boundary line to determine whether it should just be less than or less than or equal to. Well, since the boundary line is solid, that means that every point on that line is a solution. And since it's solid, it should be less than or equal to, as opposed to just less than. So this is the inequality that describes that graph. Now, in our second example of this, again, we're going to write the equation of the boundary line first. So that boundary line, first, the y-intercept is -1. So we're going to have -1. And to determine the slope, here's another point that the line goes through. We're going up 1 and over 2. So the slope is 1 over 2. And there's the equation of that boundary line. So then our inequality is going to look just like that, except we're going to have an inequality symbol in there instead of the equal sign. So once again, we're going to pick a point that is in that shaded region. For example, the point -1, -1. So we're going to test this point, just like we did in that very first video. We're going to put that point in and determine which inequality needs to go in there. So we're going to put the y-coordinate in for y and the x-coordinate in for x. So we have -1. 1/2 times 1, 1/2 times 1 is 1/2, -1 is -1/2. And then we determine how does -1 compare to -1/2? Well, -1 is less than -1/2, so that is the inequality symbol that goes in there. Then we determine whether it should be just less than or less than or equal to. And since our boundary line is a dashed line, it's not a solution, so therefore we should just leave it less than and not less than or equal to. In the next video, we're going to look at a real-world situation that can involve inequalities.